Hello lovely viewer, if you've been looking for some cool summer yarn, I have an interesting episode for you. I have a box of BC Garn yarn, so let's dive deep what they have for their summer yarns. Welcome or welcome back to my knitting channel. My name is Alena and I am knitting, content creator, engineering manager, and I talk here about knitting, how I wear my knits, and from time to time about some yarns. So if you're curious about staying here, please subscribe and I will be happy to see you more. Let me show you what we have here. And what do we have with us today to talk about? We have some wool, like cotton wool blends, some cotton linen blends, and silk. I have 3 different versions of BC Garn silk. So this is going to be interesting. And let's start from their Bio Balance yarn. This is cotton wool blend, 55% wool and 45% of organic cotton. That's not so cottony as you may know. Knitting for Olive has their cotton merino blend, but it still feels quite soft, nice to the touch, and I think that it can be a little bit more easier to knit than Knitting for Olive cotton merino, especially with the fact that this is almost exactly the same meterage. In 50 gram you have 225 meters, so this is a fingering weight yarn that is somehow managed to stain with my lipstick. Okay, I will wash it. And this is color 01, and BC Garn has 32 colors for this yarn. I have 01, the most natural one. It has a nice twist. You can untwist it, of course, but it has quite nice twist, quite soft to the touch, and I can imagine knitting some kind of, you know, like lightweight cardigan for summer, for a little bit more chilly days, for example. And this may feel really nice. My favorite colors are red, you know, they have beautiful red, bright red, a little bit more, you know, kind of like brownish red, and also they have violet color. You cannot go wrong with violet color, especially if you have green eyes. Believe me, you'll look stunning. Additionally, this Bio Balance yarn has a bigger sister, and this is bigger sister. This is Big Bio Balance by BC Garn. Content of the yarn is exactly the same: 55% wool, 45% cotton, and over here you get in 100 meters 230 grams, so you will get 165 meters per 50 grams. So this is kind of like light decay weight yarn, and you can knit some, once again, cardigan or something like that from this yarn. And currently I'm totally obsessed with knitting decay weight summer tops. I have, probably you all heard about it, I have a little bit chilly office because of ACs, and this is definitely my choice for some tops because I can layer them and they won't be too warm outside till I get to work, but I will be really cozy and warm in the office. And I like how this yarn feels. Honestly, for me, Big Bio Balance feels a little bit softer and smoother than their fingering weight yarn. And as usual, this yarn has Global Organic Textile Standard certification, and they have, as you can see it over here, and they have 100% organic yarn, which can be traced, so you can check where it was sourced and spun. You can check out on their website about this. As you can see, they really look like younger sister and older sister. Big Bio Balance has also a huge number of colors. There is 29 colors, a little bit less than fingering weight yarn, but still you may get quite a lot of colors. And they have rich blue, this one. We need it. right? That's that specific electric blue that we've seen on a lot of sweaters, I think during the last fall and winter. So maybe let's bring this color to summer as well. And now let's go to 100% cotton. As we started from cotton wool blends, let's go to their 100% cotton wool. This is BC Garn Alba. This is the recommended yarn for Milena's Paulina skirt that I will mention over here. And I can understand why she chose it. Over there you'll need 2 strands of this yarn because this is sport weight yarn, 160 meters per 50 grams. And the gauge 26 stitches per 30 rows with recommended needles 3.5 millimeter needles, and it feels soft to the touch, which is nice for cotton. And I don't feel that it can be really tough on your hands, because from time to time I see some cottons that may feel rough, and believe me, I'm a person who struggles with a lot of wool, so if I'm telling that something feels okay, this means that it really feels okay. So it looks like this. This yarn has 38 colors. So if you're looking for a cotton, 100% cotton sport weight yarn with a nice color range, this one is for you. They have orange colors, blue colors, red, pink, like whatever you want. And I think that once again the same almost royal blue can be perfect for your summer needs. And maybe I can work on some kind of small scarf with this one because I have only one ball of each, so maybe this can become a summery Sophie scarf. What do you think? Or maybe you have some other ideas what I can knit with one ball of and with 160 meters of sport weight yarn. It would be nice to get some recommendations for small scarves, so I'll be waiting in the comments. One more cotton blend. I almost forgot that I have one more blend. This is cotton cashmere, 90% cotton, 10% cashmere. This is once again a sport weight yarn, 50 grams per 165 meters. And if you wonder why I told that this one was a light decay weight yarn and this is a sport weight yarn, because they have the same meterage per 50 grams, but they look different, as you can see. So they really look different. And this one has gauge 18 stitches per 27 rows. This is Big Bio Balance. And Summer and Kashmir has 24 stitches per 32 rows, so it's much thinner yarn. The recommended needle size over here 2.5, 3.5 millimeter needles. And what you will get? You will get once again certified yarn, and you will get the softest cotton you may think. You may think, like, you may wonder, doesn't 10% of cashmere can do something with this cotton? Does it help to get to make yarn softer? Believe me, it does. It really helps. If I compare those two yarns, this Alba feels a little bit, you know, like just slightly silkier and a little bit more smooth. And this one has a little bit of halo. It feels, you know, even a slight percent of cashmere adds beautiful halo, and it's so soft to the touch. I can definitely imagine knitting some kind of a cardigan knitted with this yarn. By the way, this is a recommended yarn for original clematis sweater by Emma Knits with a strand of silk mohair, but I would go with something like maybe an additional strand of cotton or something like that to make a really springy summery sweater. And color palette is so great as well. I like the color range of BC Garn yarns, and let me tell you which one seems, you know, speaks to me. I think that I would go with this one with some darker colors, because I feel that they should be really saturated, but be careful because from time to time I see that some BC Garn yarns can be just a little bit more saturated when you get this yarn compared to what you see on their website. I don't want to talk about any other yarn, you know, this feels so soft, so nice, but we have to proceed. Let's proceed with another cotton blend. We have over here 50% cotton, 50% lino or linen. This is 125 meters per 50 grams and recommended needle size 3.5 with 22 stitches per 30 rows. Kinda like a metrage, looks like a decay weight yarn, but I think that's still a light decay or sport weight yarn. You see, it really looks like something not as decay weight. Like, once again, let's compare to this one. But this happens because here is cotton and linen, and as you know, cotton and linen may be a little bit more weighty, with like fingering weight cotton may be much weightier than fingering weight wool. The most important note about this yarn, and the most interesting over here, is that if you're looking for some summer yarn with kind of like melange effect, this is what you need. This is what you need, and this can be your go-to. And why I like more cotton linen blend and not linen itself, because linen itself usually is really harsh for my hands, so I definitely prefer cotton blends with linen. They are a little bit softer, and definitely BC Garn's cotton feels much softer than some other. For example, I've tried I think it's Yarn Art cotton, 100% cotton yarn, and that one was really terrible to knit. Not all colors will be here marbled, like marbled ones. As you can see, mine color, this is 01. It's not marbled at all, but some of the colors, for example, bright red, will have slight marbling, just because cotton and linen take dye a little bit in a different way. In some colors it can be seen. For example, I have over here my t-shirt in cotton wool blend, and as you can see, it has also some subtle marbling, also because cotton and wool take dye a little bit differently. But black yarn looks stunning without any marling, and you know what? All of us need a nice black summery top. I am definitely thinking about one with my Knitting for Olive stash cotton, stash silk, just because I have it. And probably this one will go as second black top, because I love black tops in summer. Of course, you get too warm in them, but he looks so stylish. Especially if you take some shirt over your shoulders, then it won't be so... It can be a little less warmer because you won't have a whole black back, but you'll have something a little bit lighter. And yes, it feels a little bit rough, but you should know that usually lino or linen gets much softer when you wash it. And of course, this can be machine washed. And let's go to another beautiful yarn, which I'm not ready to knit with, to be honest, especially in single thread. This is the Lino yarn. This is 100% linen yarn, fingering weight. As you can see, it's really thin. This is also has a certificate about Ecotex Confidence in Textile certificate, and it feels really rough. Like, honestly, it feels really rough. The ball is 50 gram, and in 50 gram you got 150 meters, so it may seem to you like some kind of light decay weight or sport weight. The yarn itself for me looks like fingering weight yarn. It will give you 21 stitch per 32 rows with recommended needle size 3-4 millimeters, but for me it's a little bit hard to imagine how to knit with such thin yarn on 4mm needles. Like, really hard. This is, I think, a 2-ply yarn, and as usual with cotton you may see some here and there bits of cotton that stick out of this ball. And it even has, you know, this crisp sound when you touch it. You can get this yarn in 31 color, and I would go with some accessory to knit with this yarn, or maybe to combine it with something, maybe to add a little bit of lightness and breeziness to something like Big Bio Balance, or maybe to some silk, to some cotton wool blends. It would be nice, but not for my hands to knit with this yarn alone. Maybe for you it would be nice, maybe like two-stranded, but definitely I cannot get not only this yarn but also this color, because I think that I already stained it like in a ball that was lying in the box. White isn't for me. And closer to the end, kind of like as a dessert, I have for you 3 different silk yarns. Let me show them like this, but I won't show their names for you right now because I'm going to talk about them. And let's start with this soft silk. It's really soft. When I was talking to Emma about this yarn, she told me that this silk feels like wool, and I told her like how it can be, how silk may be to the touch as wool. But yeah, it really feels like wool. I cannot guarantee that you will confuse this with 100% wool, but with some wool blend, for sure. This one is a little bit fluffier than usual wool, and I would say that's even fluffier than knitting for olive. As you can see, it's spun a little bit lighter, of course, because this is a decay, like light decay weight yarn, and this is light fingering, but still you may see like how it's plied, and it is plied a little bit differently, but feels really similar because it has just a little bit of shine as knitting for olive silk, and it really feels soft. Over here I have 350 meters per 100 gram. I'm not sure that's enough for top, but I would be really happy to knit a top with it, so probably I have to order a second one and knit myself a top. I hope that they have the same dialog of this color. I like how this color looks. It's kind of like beigey, but not too plain as for me, because silk over here applied in a way that you may see some hairspring a little bit. And this yarn will give you 20 stitches per 28 rows. Recommended needle size 3 or 4 millimeter needles. It doesn't smell like wool, that's obvious, right? You just needed to smell and to try. As usual, this yarn has a nice color selection. You can find it in 30 colors. Some of the colors may be a little bit more heathery, some of them can be a little bit more plain, but still it will give you some depth because of how the yarn looks, how the yarn itself looks, as you can see. And as usual, this is color 44, and how it looks on photo, this is how it looks in real life. For me, it seems like this one is a little bit darker, but let me know in comments, do you see the difference? Or maybe that's just that's only my issue and problem. And a little bit later I will tell you what are my ideas for this silk. But let's proceed with another silk. This is Tussah silk, once again by BC Garn. This is a fingering weight silk that feels rough to the touch, like really rough. But I've heard that when you wash it, and with each new wash it will get much softer and softer, so maybe it can help. Again, sorry, this is Tussah Tweed, not Tussah silk. I may be wrong sometimes, from time to time. So this yarn has, per 50 grams you get 250 meters, so it's kind of like light fingering weight yarn. Recommended needle size 2 or 3 millimeter needles, and gauge that you may get is 24 stitches per 33 rows. Yeah, it feels a little bit rustic, but why does it called tweed? As you can see on these colors, some of them has a little bit more brighter tweedy beads, some of them not so bright. My color is 31, I guess. Yes, this is a 31 color, and it has just a little bit of these tweedy beads, so it's almost invisible, but for some colors you may get a little bit more dubs and color with this tweed. They have 32 colors of this yarn, and I can highly recommend you 02 color. Look at this. It is stunning. This is definitely a color for perfect summer top that you can wear almost with everything, you know, like with linen pants, linen shorts in black, or natural color with jeans skirt, like chef's kiss. Love it, love it, love it. And now I want to talk about the yarn of my dreams. This was literally a yarn that I've been thinking to try for quite some time. I know that's a little bit on the pricier side, but I saw so many beautiful projects needed with it, so I needed to touch it, you know, at least to touch it. This is their Jaipur piece silk. I hope I'm not butchering this yarn name. Look at this beauty. You see? It shines. It's not a mulberry silk. This is airy, this is a little bit different silk. How does it called? Let me double check 1 second. This is airy silk, and this is this also cruelty-free silk that is made with cocoons from a different brand, from a different silkworm, which also leaves the cocoon before those cocoons were gathered and created into the yarn. This is really light fingering weight yarn, 300 meters per 50 grams, like literally really thin. Recommended needle size 2-3 millimeter needles, and over here you'll get 24 stitches per 33 rows. This silk isn't machine washable because, for example, knitting foliage silk, I wash in my washing machine on gentle cycle. It works nice. I know that they don't recommend to do it, but this is a plant kind of like plant fiber, so I do it from time to time, and my blouse number 1 looks fine, literally. But this one I won't wash, I can tell you for sure. This is, you know, like this light peachy color. Oh, I'm totally in love. Look how beautiful it is. The only thing I'm not sure that it's not too pale for me, because it can be. You can find this yarn in 34 colors, like really a lot of colors, and I love their, you know, like kind of steel color, because if you will knit with steel silk, with silk in the steel color, it will look like you're wearing some metal item, metal top or something like that, as well as blue. I think that my heart lies somewhere near blue colors, blue or violet. And yes, of course, I understand they suit me really nicely, that's why I'm looking at them quite a lot. What I can say about this silk, it feels softer, much shinier than Tussah Tweed. It is much thinner, of course, and I think it would be nice for some summery lightweight top, probably in 2 strands. I can't imagine knitting with this yarn in 1 strand because it's not rough, don't get me wrong, it's just light fingering silk. Not for my hands, truly not for my hands. Also be careful with this yarn while knitting with it, especially if you're going for some kind of stripes or maybe some color blocking, something like that. If you're using yarns with high contrast, be careful that it may bleed, and it could be a good way to wash each yarn separate, to wash darker or brighter yarn separately before using it. You can wash it just in skeins, or so, not wash, but kind of like soak it. For example, I heard that people usually soak it with vinegar, and it may help, or at least wash it with vinegar when you're going to block your garment, so this silk won't be ruined. And it feels so nice to my skin. You know, it feels like I can knit myself a pillowcase and sleep on it. Maybe I can knit myself some top as an undergarment. You know, those thin spaghetti stripes top. It could be so nice. And what I promised you, my thoughts about what I can try to knit. I'm thinking to combine all these 3 yarns. I have the shortest yarn over here is 250 grams, and together I may get something like, I think, something closer to probably heavy decay weight or something like that. And probably I can knit some small top. If you have some recommendations for decay weight, maybe like heavy decay weight, or maybe iron weight or worsted weight tops, let me know. Maybe it will be enough to knit something in small size in 250 meters. But look how they look nice together. I think that it would add a lot of depth in the color will be really deep and not too saturated, but still deep because of this hazarding that will be achieved by combining those yarns. But it really feels that I need several skeins of this yarn in black or blue, or maybe that steel color that I mentioned before, to knit myself some kind of top, maybe even top by Petite Knit, and hold this yarn double. Or maybe triple. We'll have to swatch because this is quite thin yarn and recommended should be a little bit heavier, but maybe it can be, you know, like a breezy top. It can be, right? So dear viewers, I'm so happy that you watched the whole video and you stayed with me till the end. Let me know in the comments below which yarns would you like to try, or maybe you've tried something and you have some nice feedback, especially for other fellow viewers who may watch this video. And stay tuned for the upcoming knitting podcast. I will have some cool summery stuff for you. Happy knitting! Bye!